welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 190. I am Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of NoDQ. Of course, Aaron Rift is here. Big G is happy to be here. Walter Cruz with the CM Punk mask on, and returning is James. And I want to give a special shout out, as always, to Colin the Cleaver Andrew, Noah Foster, Jeff Meacham, and the whole NoDQ crew. And why not the trolls on Twitter? Hi, Gareth. Hi, WWE Junkie. I know you're tuning in to watch me to see if I'm going to bash you. But anyway, we have another great episode this evening with some big topics. AEW heavy this evening, gentlemen. Of course, Double or Nothing just happened, and we have a new world champion. So what's going on? James, you're back for a second week in a row. How's it going?
Yes, I am. Man, I'm great. I'm doing great, despite the fact that McDonald's somehow got 2 identical orders wrong of double cheeseburger and fries. But other than that, great Double or Nothing. I saw Top Gun Maverick the day before, in IMAX theaters. I'm living the life. Life ain't too bad. Life ain't too bad.
I see Kenny Loggins is moving back up the charts, man. It's amazing.
As he should.
Yeah. Nice. And as for order failure rates, I think they're at an all-time high since the pandemic, and the workforce is less, and there's few people working shifts, and that's probably why. Anyway,
probably.
Moving on. So good to have you here. We'll come back to you with these big topics. Walter Cruz already did a super chat, by the way, Aaron. I'll do this one for you. He said, say yes to NoDQ. $2. Thank you, Walter. What's up?
Nothing much. I'm doing well. I wouldn't be me if I didn't do that. Got to start every video with that. Had to take my mask off. I'm done being the robot now.
He's the ultimate company guy right here.
Exactly.
Happy to be here. Oh, wait, no, that's Big G's gimmick.
That's Big G.
Oh, you're Virtue number 2. Yeah, you're Virtue number 2. So whatever you want to be.
I'm Troll Slayer Jr. here.
That's what I say. Yeah. So anyway, we'll come back to you. These are very interesting topics, as they always are, but we only have a few tonight because I think we're going to be talking about some of them for a while. Big G, happy to be here. Put a smile on your face. What's up?
I'm doing pretty good. Enjoying the couple days off that I have. Been watching some movies on TV. Got a couple in June, July, and August. There's a couple wrestling conventions that Parker King Promotions is doing. I'm helping them out with my buddy again. Got some good people lined up for that, so it's going to be a good couple months.
All right, this is going to be a good power hour. I mean, you never know. We could go 2-3 hours here at the NoDQ Review, but we'll see. Aaron Rift, What's going on, man? I know you do this almost every day. I think every day.
Yep, been a busy few days for sure, and I'm looking forward to tonight's live stream, getting everybody's thoughts on the happenings in wrestling. Walter, it's great to have you on as always, even though when you're on, we usually go an extra 30 to 40 minutes. And if Jeff is on with you, then it could be like a 3-hour show. Like, it's going to go for a long time. Like, you're the one guy when I think you and Jeff were on once.
Yeah.
That was like the one time Jeff was struggling to get a word in during the stream. Because you dominate the conversation. And it's not a bad thing. That's why we like having you on.
I will say that is child's play. Try 9 hours with Jeff Meacham. I did that.
The streams, right? The streams.
Yeah.
My job as moderator is to make sure everybody can talk. And I honestly like to save the Virtue show for the debates, which we're going to be planning some here shortly. Or if something gets me heated on the review, which has been known to happen. But anyways, Aaron, a couple super chats are coming in, I see already.
Yeah. Dustin sent in $2, says, I'm the biggest effing mark.
Well, thanks for the
Tony Khan is, but you could be up there, right there, top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to be.
It's hilarious because when they use mark like it's always been a bad term, it was always kind of meant to be an endearing term, and then the internet just kind of slowly warped into.
People used to say, "I'm marking out," and that was good.
Like it's a derogatory term. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it started that way. Like decades ago, that was a term that was used to describe fans that were like suckers and
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Then it became like, oh yeah, we're all a bunch of marks. We're marking out. We're having fun, and now it's a negative term again.
How? Where did we go from A to Z?
Started in,
How do we
it's
keep
funny,
doing it?
It started in the carnival. Like there's a whole story about it. Just go, but it's interesting, and it makes sense on how they came up with it and why. And nothing was offensive. I mean, those carnival carnies. That's their living, and their games make more money. They make more money, and they found a way to maximize their profits. That's business. So a mark is a customer, right, Aaron? That's all. Yep.
Aaron, we just aged ourselves by remembering the original mark, and then this one.
We'll be talking about that term and other things said by one MJF in our main event this evening. That's for sure.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $5.01 super chat, and we'll be talking about this, I'm sure. He says, I say MJF takes the title from CM Punk in Chicago at All Out. Could happen.
Could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they held it off for Grand Slam, though. I could see them doing it for Grand Slam, too.
Well, if Chicago was going to be the host city of All Out, like, that's a solid town to do it in, I think. But yeah, New York would be good too. I just don't know if they're going to give away that match on a free show. I think that'll be a huge AEW event, but
right. Well, they did a huge match on TV once before with Moxley and Omega, so I could see them doing that again. And I'm just going by statistically, you've had 2 pay-per-view defenses in the beginning on pay-per-view, or 2 title changes on pay-per-view. Excuse me. Then you had a title change on TV, then 2 more on pay-per-view. I think it only makes sense to go back to the well again and do it on TV for the 6th one.
And I want to know how many people. I want to know how many people out there are marks. So if you're a mark, leave a comment on YouTube and let us know that you're a mark and you're damn proud of it. I want to know how many marks are out there.
I saw a couple of people say it already.
Yeah, right. I'm a mark. I'm fine.
We're beyond that now. People are going to be calling themselves effing marks. Thanks.
Right. I'm an uneducated mark, bro.
I'll be a bot. Forget the mark. I'll stay a bot. But you know what? Part of me wishes MJF contract was up this year, because imagine if they were smart enough to do the whole Punk and Cena thing in AEW, but like Punk as Cena and then MJF in the Punk role.
That could have been money. I'll be real with you. That could have been beautiful.
Well, we'll definitely talk about that. I mean, there's so many different things, and the way it's being presented on social media and the way the company is portraying it and the dirt sheets are picking it up or having fun with it. And we'll discuss that, right? Cliffhanger for our main event. Aaron, are we ready to start tonight's topics? You got any other thing you want to lead in with?
I'm ready to get going with it.
So we're going to first start with the new AEW World Champion, CM Punk. And he won the title by beating Hangman Page. He did the emotional, obviously being out there in the ring. I think one of the reasons why he blocked me several months ago is because I'm like, he's a carny worker. He knows how to work these fans. How genuine is he? He's putting his head in a bag of onions to get the eyes watering. The thing is, unless there was a bag of onions under the ring after he won the match, he was tearing up. So it just could have been his whole journey of his career and, getting to the top of another company not named WWE. He did that after 7 years off. And, we can nitpick with Punk all we want on the slow roll. The fact is, he hasn't even been there a year yet. He is their world champion. So what's everyone's thoughts here? Because this is kind of what I thought he would come in and do right away. And we're here. CM Punk has the AEW World Championship. And, the only non-WWE guy that's really – actually, he was Adam Page, right? No, Kenny Omega's a non-WWE guy. So they had a couple non-WWE guys in a row holding that title. So I don't think we're looking at this as another – how fans like to say another ex-WWE guy getting the title, but it's CM Punk. We don't think of it that way. Walter Cruz, I'll come over to you first here. Thoughts on CM Punk holding the gold?
Yeah, the fact. Well, first of all, the fact that Punk has been away so long, that's why we don't think of it as another ex WWE guy. It's like he disassociated himself so much from the company that I don't want to say you almost forget, but it's like you don't hold it accountable for that. But I'm kind of glad they did it this way because I think that's what would have happened if they immediately gave him the title. Would have been like, oh, they're only doing it for the hype and because he just came from WWE, they're trying to make a splash. So there's no satisfying Marks or anybody. So I mean, they did it the right way. They did it. It made it patient. They slowed it down. They at some points you kind of forgot about him for a while until he feuded with MJF. Like you really kind of like Punk kind of fell off a little when he came out. It was kind of disappointing. He had the hype for like the first month, and then here comes all the other signings, and Punk kind of fell away for the wayside for a little bit. But I mean, most of us predicted him being the champ, so. But to be honest, I think he's going to have the shortest reign of everybody. They're building either Warlord or MJF to get that belt next. I don't think. I see him maybe defending it 2-3 times and then losing it. I don't think he's going to have such a long reign like everybody else.
But I mean, sometimes that's okay, right? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Like that CM Punk could be a transitional champion, but is it like if he holds it until September? That's a few months. I mean, what's the definition of transitional? But it doesn't matter because CM Punk is there to like get his fan base excited, right? And putting the goal on him will definitely do that. Maybe a few people that gave up on him when he was off that kind of knew him and liked him from WWE, maybe now that he's champion will migrate over. Their ratings were up a little bit this week. So, I mean, it's not bad. Look, I know I critique AEW a lot on social media. I'm not critiquing this. It's CM Punk. James, what do you think?
I'm with you. I mean, there was no other person to carry the mantle after Adam Page. Punk was the guy and was going to be the guy. It was inevitable. It was a matter of when he wanted to finally get that strap. And I love the story he told because when he first came into the company, he said he wanted to tell the story his way. And the story he wanted to tell was, can I still hang? And I think a lot of people interpreted that as he fell off because he was just having these random matches every week. But I love that aspect of it where he was testing himself against the AEW's roster. And he was, racking up win after win after win after win, going and winning all these matches with the exception of one loss to MJF. He has won every single match and earned his right, probably more than anybody else, to get a world title shot. I think that was a great story. And some of the in-between stories, like Eddie Kingston and him, was phenomenal. Him and Darby was so good. Him and MJF is the best. It's the best story that AEW has probably told. And I genuinely, I mean, it may get talked in the future, but right now, Max and Punk for sure. And Punk is now, he even had a great little run with Hangman for the little that they were given because, COVID's a sumbitch. But they had a great title program, I thought, for the little they were given. Punk had some belter matches too. If you're a match mark like me, I mean, and you got it. And if you're just a promo mark, you got that too. So, Walter, where'd you go?
Bye, Walter. Hey, James, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
How does their ranking system work there? Who is like the number one contender based on that ranking system right now? And do they do rematches? Would Hangman Page have to like be ranked back up there to get his rematch? Like I don't pay that close attention to those rules of AEW. So who is next immediately for CM Punk, or is it just going to be nothing until all out? Like he has to have somebody to feud with in the interim. I can't think they're going to just put, because MJF we're going to talk about later. I think he's in the little versus your boss role right now.
Right.
So what's next for Punk as champion? Like right now, somebody.
Two matches I could see are definitely going to happen on TV, or because obviously you got Tanahashi on pay-per-view. Then you're going to have Danielson and more than likely Joe and or Kingston. Probably is where that's going.
Now he has Tanahashi, but that's just like the Forbidden Door thing. No titles on the line. Is that how they're doing?
No, that's for the belt. That's absolutely.
Okay.
For the title.
So there you go. There's one, right?
So there is that. I'm looking forward to what the short reign is going to look like, because they're going to have to cram a lot in there, because he said he's still got people he wants to face. Ricky Starks was mentioned too, so we might get a match between those two, which wouldn't surprise me, honestly. But for me, as far as the ranking system goes, look at UFC's ranking system. It's basically the same thing. It's a mess. All ranking systems are genuinely a mess. All the ranking system is there for is to put your contenders in line, so that way you know, okay, who has done the most, who's gotten the most buzz. It's all the ranking system is, and this is across all sports, is a popularity contest. That's all it is.
So is there one right now that's ranked number one to get for him? Do they throw that list?
Wardlow, but more than likely he's probably going to challenge for the TNT title, because for some reason they put both of the rankings in the same boat. I don't know why.
Oh, Aaron, Walter Cruz has Adam back. Is he waiting in the waiting room?
He's waiting. We'll get him on in a sec.
Gotcha. You're penalizing him, I see. Penalty box for Walter Cruz. All right, Big G. Over here, are you happy that CM Punk is the AEW champion?
I am. I'm gonna keep on gloating. I was there when he came back in Chicago 7 months ago, and that was all based on a rumor. And James said it the best. I mean, it's a 7 month story, pretty much testing himself against anybody and everybody in AEW. Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston. He got the team with Sting, which was probably, every childhood's dream is the team with Sting. There's not much else to say. Just hopefully that he has a good run as AEW champion. I'm sure he's going to have a lot more TV time than Hangman Adam Page did. When it comes to media and stuff like that, he's been on the top before, so he knows how to do all the media and stuff like that for AEW and whatnot. And he's literally their biggest star right now, besides MJF. He's got Tanahashi at Forbidden Door apparently, and then at All Out in September, Chicago. We'll see what happens there, but good for Punk. 7 months. Is it kind of too short to, be champion after being there for that long? But not really. But
Summer Punk 2.0, 11 years later.
Yeah. Actually, technically, it's 3.0, because remember, the first one was in Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, tree falls in forest. No one's around to hear it. That's been going around on Twitter.
I don't know, man. He signed his WWE contract on the Ring of Honor title. I think he made some noise.
Aaron Rift, over to you with this and maybe some super chats.
Yeah, we have a few here, so I'll get to them. The Amagen 2.0 sent in $2, says Gareth on TW is going to sue NoDQ and Virtue. What's that about?
Yeah, do it, Mark.
Animagen?
Well, thank you for that, I suppose. I can use that towards my lawyer bill. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $3.75 super chat, says, I am a Mark and I am proud of it.
Winky emoji. And
they're all starting to come around.
Thank you for that, Caleb.
It's fun. It's great.
It feels good to admit it, right? Report Card Radio sent in a comment, not a super chat, says, what is CM Punk's first major AEW feud? I'm thinking John Moxley in September. I mean, that's a good one. It's interesting because Walter, I think, brought up that this might be a short run. And I was thinking, obviously, MJF and CM Punk is going to be happening again at some point. There was a reason why CM Punk showed up during the commercial break. I do not think that was randomly done. I think that was to plant the seeds for something in the future. I would like to see CM Punk defend the title on a regular basis because there are a lot of fresh title matches he can do. The question is, How quickly will they happen? You have John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Ricky Starks. You have a lot of people that could challenge CM Punk for the title. But at the same time, I'm thinking if we do get MJF versus CM Punk, that might be the match where MJF finally wins the world title. It's really interesting because I was thinking that MJF would beat Hangman Adam Page for the title, and obviously CM Punk is the champ now, and it's interesting because I don't know where this is going and who's going to end up beating CM Punk. One would think MJF is the guy, maybe Wardlow, maybe CM Punk goes heel. There's a lot of possibilities, so it's keeping me intrigued. I'm not really sure now who's next.
If it's gonna be MJF, you almost can't do a short reign because you gotta let it build. Because you gotta let him get past the Khan thing. Yeah, you gotta let him pass this. So it might be a long reign just to get to MJF.
That's why I'm saying maybe Grand Slam. That's kind of the reason I brought that up.
I would like to see them build Miro up and let Miro challenge for the belt, not beat him, but challenge for it.
He's another guy.
Yeah.
I would say, and I do have to say though, Moxley would be a great shout, and especially now because I don't know if anybody saw the main event on that Dynamite where MJF got the pipe bomb, but he's getting better tactically in that ring, and you can tell the training with Regal and Regal and Danielson's paying off because he showed a lot that I have not seen Moxley do ever in his entire career. So I would really like to see current Moxley versus Punk for sure.
How about Punk and Bryan in an AEW ring? Imagine that match.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
I would like to see CM Punk do what Bret Hart did in '92. Bret Hart won the title and he became a fighting champion, and they acted like he had the most title defenses in a short period of time than anybody in the history of the company.
You know what? Considering he loves Bret Hart and it's in canon in AEW now, I could actually see how that going that way. Honest to God,
I hope he can physically do it though at his age. And he was looking a little sluggish on Wednesday. I thought he botched a few things. I don't think he can keep that kind of schedule going.
Let me just give my boy a little advice here. Stop jumping in the crowd and smashing your knee off the barricade. Stop doing that.
Guys, we live in a world where CM Punk is the AEW World Champion and Roman Reigns is the undisputed unified WWE Universal Champion. Wow. So both fan bases, there you go. I mean, both fan bases have great champions right now, and that's right. I'm not picking one over the other than, I'm a big Roman Reigns fan, but, I liked CM Punk back in his heyday too, so I'm not going to bitch and complain about this move at all. Aaron, some other super chats came.
Crazy. That's actually crazy you mentioned that because I didn't even clock that until you mentioned it. That's wild.
All right, let me get to these other super chats here. Shanti sent in a $5 super chat, and he likes to troll me on Facebook whenever I post a photo. He's always got a reply with a video. Shanti says, I'm waiting for the beginning of the stream, so I'll hear this in the future. But first and foremost, I am a Shanti mark for all wrestling. Hashtag SY2 NoDQ. I like that hashtag. I'll have to use them more.
That is a good hashtag.
That's pretty good. Very good.
Psychojet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, I'm an anti-mark against Ricochet and EC3.
Well,
he finds a way to bring Ricochet into any conversation.
I'm with you on the EC3 bit though right now because oh boy, get that man some help.
I just think it's the way I think it's the way WWE book him. It's not him himself.
Oh, I agree. I
don't know what's happening in the chat, but Curtis Butler's like CM Punk watches this review, please. I got blocked by CM Punk and never tagged him. Okay, how does that happen? Right? Some of these wrestlers, they go on there just to see, the chatter about themselves. You never know what they're going to stumble across.
My friend got blocked from him too.
So I think it was my Carney tweet. But again, it wasn't pinned towards him at all. So, Aaron, ready to move on?
He blocked my friend for saying something about the Chicago, the hockey team.
No, that's understandable.
And he blocked him.
All right, let's see. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you. Says, how about a heel CM Punk versus Wardlow at All Out? I mean, a CM Punk heel turn, I think, could definitely work. And Wardlow, CM Punk, I'd be signed up for that for sure. What do you guys think?
I'm cool with it.
I could see that happening down the line.
It's contingent to me if MJF becomes like that, like not a baby face, but like where the fans like him, like Punk did, like after his pipe bomb. Then I could see Punk kind of taking the reins over as a heel. But I don't know.
Yeah, Virtue took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say I don't think it'll work with him as a heel unless MJF flips. Like they will have to flip roles for it to work for me.
Yeah.
Which would be really interesting to see babyface MJF versus a heel Punk. I mean, that would sound like iconic reverse, and it's a weird full circle.
Yeah, MJF would have to be like a Stone Cold type babyface where he's not really a face. He's still a badass. He's not really the face, but yeah, he'll be after that
would be interesting if he's like gone for like a good 5 to 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden he comes back, and all of a sudden he's a changed dude, and he just gets jacked and like goes on a fucking tear. Excuse my French, but
that's okay.
My bad. I forgot this is not Jeff Meacham. No,
you're just dropping the MJF bombs.
I do not have a 7-second delay to bleep out the bombs.
You effing Mark.
Where we're at.
Let's see. Psycho Jet Black sent in another $2 super chat. He's determined to get us over an hour tonight. Says, how about CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy? Yeah. Why not?
I'll be interested in it. Let's do it.
But Hardy's a little banged up. I said give him some time to heal. Yeah, because he seemed banged up. I thought it was just a boot thing, like Aaron was saying, but he kind of looks pretty banged up.
No, yeah, he's really hurt. I love the match, by the way, they ended up doing anyway, by the way, because Hikuleo has some shine with him and Luchasaurus and that 10-man tag. I love that 10-man tag. Sorry. I know that makes me a match. I'm a match, Mark. It's okay.
All right, we're caught up now, Virtue.
All right, so I just want to use, like, this is going to be our little transitional topic here, and we brought this up before, but Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, right? We know he's out doing Hollywood stuff, horror movie. I'm very interested to see what happens with this. I don't, movies today, especially horror, you got Redbox, you can get, Netflix, I assume it's going to be a movie that goes like straight there. I don't think it'll be a big theater movie because we probably would have heard about it, seen some trailers and stuff for it. But I know he's focusing on that part of his career. But the thing is, with a wrestler, you always have that itch to come back. And he's kind of tweeted some things cryptic. And I just, to me, guys, if he comes back into wrestling, it's got to be a big platform. And I just don't think it's going to be WWE, because if he did have all these creative differences and with WWE, I just don't see him wanting to go back, even if they wanted him. And I don't think AEW is a bad place, but I don't want to. I'll come back to me last, and I want to tell you why. You know how the ex-WWE guys, it's oversaturated. I think Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda could be a nice exception if they do it a certain way. But what does everybody else think if he comes back into wrestling first? Before I give you how I think it could work well. Big G, you first.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, he's doing the movie thing right now. He tweeted out that he's ready to come back to wrestling and whatnot. You got so many options. I mean, he could even go, Impact Wrestling he could do for a little bit. He could, I'm sure he would have a little bit more freedom control in Impact Wrestling than he would in WWE.
How much money though?
Huh?
Much money, though?
Yeah, no, that was the big issue too. He was, it was all about the money for him, and AEW would be good too, but we all know it's oversaturated with people, and we don't want Tony Khan signing another ex-WWE guy, he could come back to WWE, I heard heard things saying he could show up at Hell in a Cell against Cody and Seth Rollins on Sunday.
No.
I heard that, and I'm just like, really? No, it's not gonna happen. It has to be. If he did come back to WWE, I would say like maybe Money in the Bank or like SummerSlam, something like that. But let him do his thing right now. The movie biz, do his horror movies, and then
Yeah, like I'm excited for that. Like it
I am
sounds like
too,
he's going to be a feature role, and I don't care how it's released. If it's almost a 2-hour movie with him in it, I'm going to be excited to watch it no matter where it's at and see if it can catapult him into getting Hollywood to see this guy's talented. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere.
I know WWE owns like the Fiend character, but it would be kind of cool to see like him use that character in a movie.
He could come up with something so much better than and get away with it. James, what do you think here?
For me, I'm in the camp that he actually is gonna go back to WWE because there's way too much people. There's way too many people in AEW. Like if you bring him in, who are you gonna pair him with? The House of Black and have him take over that faction? Because that's all you could do with him. Like that's literally all you could do with him, and then you're pigeonholing him right out of the gate, like they've done with Malachi to a degree. So I don't think that's gonna really necessarily work. To me, his best place is WWE, and it's also his worst place because of everything you said, Virtue, the creative differences he was having with the company, to the point where he just didn't want to be there anymore, as we know now. But, it's one of those things where you have the next Undertaker, right? Arguably in this guy. It's not too late to make some goodwill with the guy. I mean, Lord knows how many corny crap they put the Undertaker through, and he's one of the all-time legends of the business to this day. So why can't you do the same with Bray Wyatt and build some fresh goodwill with the fans? Might as well. What do you got to lose? Literally, you need anything at this point. You couldn't even sell out Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium. So,
because it was Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not going to sell out a stadium. I like how some things don't change. Mr. Tito, I'd put him on a treadmill, awful cardio. Hey, I mean, gosh, I guess Tito worked out at the gym next to him. So, yeah, got a scoop. We got a scoop right there.
What are you talking about?
I got a great idea for Bray here for Wyndham, but Walter, it's your turn now.
Real quick, at least Mr. Tito didn't get me in a lot of hot water. He got me in a little bit of hot water, but he's now like the second most controversial columnist in the history of NoDQ.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, I guess I was blamed for writing a column somebody else wrote. I haven't posted a Virtue's Rage for like a year. And, I apologize to the people that enjoyed reading those. But, Aaron, I don't even know who that guy was that got you in that hot water and what it was about. But I had some fun with it on Twitter. And now I'm being the one that's accused of being the mastermind behind it all. I love the internet. But nonetheless, Walter, we're talking about Wyndham Rotunda, formerly known as Bray Wyatt and Husky Harris.
I think it's inevitable for him to return to wrestling. It's just a matter of what's more important to him. Creative freedom, which I think it would be better in AEW, or is it the money? Because WWE is where you're going to get the money from. No, when it comes to someone's paycheck or salary, none of these other companies are going to match what WWE can offer you. So it's just a matter of what's more important to him. I think if his movie does well and get him exposure, maybe Vince will give him a call, or Nick Khan will give him a call and say, we want to bring you back, just because he's getting more exposure and he's becoming the hot commodity again. And they're going to want to bring in those eyes and they'll bring them back. It all depends. I think you can never take the wrestling out of the wrestler. People go Hollywood, but they always come back. The Rock came back for special appearances. Cena's still coming back. I don't think you never get rid of that itch. I mean, look at Ric Flair still wants to do it at 75 or whatever he is, and he still wants to go at it. So it's just what's important to him. WWE will give you more money. AEW will give you creative freedom, but there's other companies out there too. And if you go to New Japan or you go to ROH, that's associated with AEW, so you'll be showing up in AEW either way. But I mean, I thought I was one of the people. I brought that idea up about full circle. If you have him return and at Hell in a Cell and go again, interfere with Seth, that'll be a complete full circle. That everybody hated that match. Seth Rollins did. I mean, how do you end a Hell in a Cell in DQ? But to see him come back, I mean, that'll create a buzz, a pop. But we just never know. He might go completely Hollywood, or he might flip back and forth. Who knows? But I wouldn't mind seeing him wrestling again.
Before I give my take here, I'll come over to you in case there are some super chats.
All right, let's see here. Seth Wallens sent in a $5 super chat. I guess this is kind of going off topic here. He says, a few years ago, you always spoke about dream matches. Nowadays, not so much. What are a few dream matches today you would still want to see? Real quick, Roman Reigns versus The Rock would be at the top of my list. How about, wait a second.
Yeah.
Kick him.
Look, there's another. There was a pussy on camera.
Wow.
Was that Joker or Harley?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joker.
Anyways, back to the dream match. Virtue, I wanted to mention this one.
Yeah.
This is another thing we could potentially talk about for a minute, and that's William Morrissey. Big Cass is apparently done with Impact Wrestling. I'd like to see Enzo and Cass versus the Usos. That's a dream match for me.
WWE, that's where they're sports entertainers. They belong there. So we'll see.
And that's Bray Wyatt. I think he's a sports entertainer.
Yeah,
I don't think he would fit with AEW. They have the House of Black, which is kind of a little supernatural like, but their roster's bloated, as you guys mentioned. I think he would be better off going back to WWE, but he could just be testing the waters just to see if people are actually interested in seeing him come back.
Yeah, that's true.
If he does come back, I think that it would probably be WWE.
And who knows? You can work that into a contract, the whole creative freedom. You can work that in if they can.
Never say never, right, Walter? Like him going back to WWE, it's always plausible. Like, absolutely. I mean, Cody Rhodes, okay? Mm-hmm. But what I think he could have to benefit him, and AEW really hasn't done this. Like, they sign people up and they sign them to contracts just to not use them. Why can't they come up with a deal, Wyndham Rotunda, Tony Khan, and bring him in as a special attraction to where he only comes in, works one program, and goes back and makes more horror movies? And he could come in and do a program against Malachi Black and put Malachi Black over and then go back to Hollywood. That, to me, would work perfectly. You're not, you present him that way, not as a Brock Lesnar overpay him, but just pay him for the dates that he comes in. He puts somebody over to use, with the Bray Wyatt rub, like Malachi Black, who could use it. And then he goes back and makes more horror movies. And hopefully that's where he can have some success. And he's not working a full-time schedule. Other than WWE and AEW, nothing else for him would work to me. Like that Control Your Narrative group, which is fizzling out already. All due respect to EC3. I mean, they're like a touring indie company doing 200-300 at best. That's not really going to go anywhere. Impact, a shell of its former self. What else in the wrestling business could Wyndham Rotunda do? You're not going to see him go over to New Japan and work matches the way they work with Bray, with his style and their style. It's one of the two major companies. Like Aaron said, sports entertainment at heart, but would that work out creatively? Yeah. Special attraction in AEW where you just bring him in for a short period of time, let him go back, be creative, do his own stuff, bring him back again down the road. Put people over. What happened to putting people over in the business?
That's not a bad idea at all.
Okay.
I actually have a decent idea of how you can bring him into AEW, but I'll let Aaron try to say.
And that's all. That was my piece on him, Aaron. Anything else you want to add before James?
We have a couple of super chats here, which we'll get to in a moment. Virtue, I just wanted to say this is off topic, but it looks like you have a halo.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. I didn't clock that actually.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either until you just said that.
Okay.
So there was a comment about.
I don't see it on my end, but
what about Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas as this dark tag team, kind of like a Bludgeon Brothers type deal or something even darker? But Bo Dallas is full blown in the gimmick and has a crazy mask, and they're this duo of destruction.
You know what? And I'm glad you were going where I was going to go. Him, Bo Dallas. I was going to say those two, Eric Redbeard and Adam Shear, as a package deal as well. Like that whole group. And if you really wanted to push these guys, I'm thinking you make a whole ministry behind Bray, like almost like a ministry of darkness type thing. And the other members that I'm thinking of, you can bring in the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, and add the House of Black, kind of like how the Brood was an extension of the ministry when they joined.
Yeah,
I could actually see that working.
Put him on Raw and feud with Judgment Day.
I think he should be by himself, like an Undertaker figure for AEW, and just be there to put somebody over like a Malachi Black or whoever when needed, and then he goes away for a while and then doesn't get stale, doesn't get lost in that huge roster. I don't know.
It might depend on how this movie is received. Like, if there's buzz behind them after this movie comes out, one of these companies is going to come and call him.
Yep.
The Ministry of Wyndham, I like that. Or the Ministry of Wyatt in WWE, or the Cult of Wyndham in AEW.
I like it.
Let's see either one.
Let's see here. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, I have a jam-packed question. Do you play 21?
I like to play 22. I knew where he went with that.
That Heroes of Wrestling show. If you ever want to torture yourself, watch that Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view.
AEW did a whole reshoot of that exact segment, and he's playing blackjack on a table. You like to play 21, and he's playing poker. What the hell are you doing?
I still remember when Jake Roberts came out on a Dynamite, and he made a sexual joke. I forgot what it was exactly. Now I'm blanking out on what it was, but
probably towards Brandy Rhodes.
No, he said some kind of sexual joke, and I'm not recalling what it was. So maybe somebody in the chat can help me on that.
He is a snake.
Yeah, it was something like that, some kind of innuendo. But let's get to these other super chats. Interstate Kyle sent in a $2 super chat. No comment, but I'll give him a plug. He's got a great YouTube channel with a lot of travel videos, driving around the country. Check it out, Interstate Kyle on YouTube. Caleb Jacobs, I did not miss your super chat. I have it stored here in the starred section. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to get to it. We will get to it now. He says, W. Morrissey and Enzo for future AEW Tag Team Champions. Do what WWE did not do with them.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm all for. A lot of people are going to be like, well, there's a huge contingent of people don't want Enzo to come in to the WWE. Dude, Enzo and Cass, you need to bring in, because first off, Enzo's gotten way better in the ring. I don't know if anybody's seen his MLW work, but if you're a matchmark like me, I have, and he's gotten tremendously better. That's number one. Number two, he's always been great on the mic. He's probably one of the top 3 mic talkers in the entire industry. If you're going to let that guy just float around in the indies for the rest of his career, that is a gross misuse of freaking talent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't care what company they go to. I just want to see them back together. That's it. It don't matter what company.
Yeah, never say never in wrestling, and there's a lot of opportunities for them. Someone's going to have to bite. I mean, and they sold merchandise. I mean, these promoters know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we have as far as super chats go. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, never have Bray Wyatt inside Hell in a Cell ever again.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
He read my mind when I heard he's going back to Hell in a Cell. No.
Keep him away.
I was just thinking, I was going back to Enzo in my head. It would have been cool if they did bring him in when Wardlow and MJF were a team, and those two versus those two. That would have been a good match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that would have actually. Yeah.
Seth Wallens has a $2 super chat. Says, Aaron, I have a jam-packed question coming. Be warned.
Uh-oh.
Get it in soon, because we could use that as a buffer between this topic and the main event topic. And Dustin sent in a $2 super chat. Says, Bray Wyatt to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s Federation as champion. Oh
So
yeah,
many little feds though. Like
If they can afford it,
Right?
if they can afford them.
I don't think. I think, judging by the fact he was in the audience for All Elite Wrestling, he's doing one of two things. Either one, he's working with Tony Khan to make AEW the promotion he's going to have this union under, or two, he's studying what Tony's doing and he's like, okay, how am I going to make this better than that? But I think the former is, honest to God, more truer, because he looked like he was having a great time. I ain't gonna lie, he looked like he was having a time of his life at AEW. So
is Macaulay Culkin.
yeah, everybody, dude, the stars were out tonight and or that night, last night.
That
In
was
Cali.
the forum. Yeah.
There you go.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Enzo Amore is the anti-Ricochet.
In terms of promos, yes.
Oh wait, what's there?
What's
Oh,
that?
we got a cat, another cat.
That's
Joker.
Joker.
Hi, Joker.
It's like the
Joker's
keyboard
like,
cat.
He looked like he was about to turn around and smack her. Like, get me off this camera.
I'm not
he-
a camera cat. Leave me alone.
He does not like getting picked up.
Yeah.
All right, so Virtue, I think we're caught up now. So
Main event.
now wait, before we get to that, I do wait a second. Jay Hunter just sent in a $2 super chat. Says, who's on the Mount Rushmore of the WWE PG era? I guess I'll go first.
John Cena.
You
Exactly.
can't see him though. But John Cena,
That was a good one, Aaron.
Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and he's gone now, and maybe Seth Rollins. Big G, what do you think?
Of the PG era, how far does that go back?
2005?
All right, Cena, Orton,
Walter,
Cena,
you want to go? Let him think.
Seth Rollins, and I can't think of a fourth.
Pick a woman. Pick Becky Lynch or something.
Yeah, Becky Lynch. That's not a bad choice. Pretty good.
Walter, do you have a Mount Rushmore of the PG era?
I'm gonna Miz. I don't think Miz ever gets the credit he deserves. Miz, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, John Cena.
All right.
Yeah, Cena, Orton, Batista.
I forgot about Orton.
I forgot about
Well,
Batista.
actually, Batista was never really PG, was he? I can't include him in that. All right,
That's kind of why he left.
Yes, yeah. Cena. All right, yeah. Cena, Orton, Bryan, Punk. There you go.
All right.
Those are my Mount Rushmore people. Honest to God.
All right. Now, Seth
Oh, wait,
Rollins.
what about me?
Oh,
Yeah,
You're just-
more virtue, man.
Because you can't see John Cena, I'm going to just make this easy. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman.
Bloodline.
Moving on.
all right. But are we still in the PG era? I thought like the PG era ended with the network era. Like everybody has.
If
We
it's
don't
still
know. I don't
PG,
really
we're
know.
still in the
It's-
era.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess
Seth-
they do consider it network area, though.
Seth Rollins, because they changed the logo and everything when they started
Or the
network.
Peacock
Anyway,
era now.
Seth Rollins says Aaron and NoDQ roster. He's going to get us canceled here. Out of all the
Oh my
X-rated
God.
content that has been leaked from wrestlers over the years, who has been some of your favorites? Best set of knockers, XXX videos, OnlyFans, etc.
No comment.
No comment.
No
My
comment.
wife is like 10 feet away, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch that stuff.
Yeah. Listen, I will watch porn for porn and not for wrestling. Okay,
I honestly don't even know.
That's all. I'm just.
I don't even know
there.
who leaked what. I don't even know who's leaked. I don't. Who cares?
Back in the day, Sable had a good Playboy shoot.
Yeah, China,
Corey
Playboy,
Wilson.
Sable.
The
Rhea,
Sable and
Sable.
Corey Wilson one. So there you go.
I was shocked
got-
that they didn't ever use Cat in Playboy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the obvious
Or the
answer is
cat.
either. I guess the obvious answer
Ernest
for a
Miller?
legitimate answer is probably Scarlett or Tony Storm.
Ernest Miller.
Ernest Miller.
Jerry the King
Ernest
Lawler's
Miller.
ex-wife, Aaron.
Let's see,
Oh,
Brian
wow.
Fisher or Brian Flesher, excuse me, sent in a $5 super.
What a name.
We were just talking about the Playboy stuff.
Well, now we have Brian
we got a
Fletcher in the
Fletcher.
chat.
I was
no.
looking forward to the Butthead movie.
Oh my god.
Did
Did you read the super chat, Aaron?
Yeah. If Bray Wyatt returns to wrestling, which promotion do you see him going to?
Go about like 10 minutes back, and you'll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
we
time
gotta
we always
answer
gotta
that.
talk about this.
We gotta
We're
answer
waiting. Yeah, brother.
WWE, but
Yeah,
I'll
That's
say it
the
again.
more.
I'll say it
that's the more
again.
realistic choice. WWE.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Depends on what's more important to him, creative or money.
yeah, there you go. That's it.
all right. So now I think we may be caught up, but Virtue, just got to throw this up real quick. Just so everybody knows, Robbie is coming. When
Paul Giamatti is coming to NoDQ. Yeah. I look for. I can't wait. We gotta see this nice tamer Robbie. I don't even know what to expect.
That looks like a man that enjoys a classy Playboy article.
Yeah.
Probably.
Sure.
He looks like a man that's coming after me. So maybe he's gonna take Tito's position there, and
You actually show up
so.
instead of talking a big game and then no show the debate.
Yeah, we gotta debate over Matt Riddle for sure. All right, main event time.
Yeah.
Yes.
MJF. All right, the whole happenings lately with Tony Khan no showing a meet and greet, the plane ticket that was bought, he still showed up, wrestled Wardlow, he still showed up on Dynamite, had a live mic. The dirt sheets are having fun with it and acting like that it could be a shoot because there are fans out there that might think that. This is a complete 100% work, in my opinion, and probably anybody's opinion if you really just know anything about wrestling. But we're going to go around and talk about the whole happenings of MJF the past several days and his nuke bomb on Dynamite, where he called Tony Khan an effing mark.
So
Congratulations. I've been saying, and the fans he called marks. Great, move over, Dan Lambert. Nobody cares about you anymore. MJF is in this role, and let's see where it goes. Big G. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So my buddy Daniel, he texted me. He's like, "Man, MJF this, MJF that." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not even home yet." So I got home a little bit after 9 and started Dynamite. Got through the first match, and then I stayed off of social media the whole entire night until I finished Dynamite, and watch his segment. And then afterwards, I went on Twitter and stuff like that, and TikTok. And on TikTok, it was all over TikTok. It was all over Twitter. It was ridiculous. But it's the work. It's got to be between him and Tony Khan and whoever else is in it. But I feel like there's some truth with it as well. He's frustrated a little bit, and they're like, all right, let's make this thing into a work and get everybody talking and stuff like that. We all know that he, like you said, Virtue, he no-showed the meet and greet. He had a flight out of Vegas, and I'm sure that was all part of the work as well, and that was all over social media. Excuse me. And they pulled all the video content off of Twitter today, and he's off of the AEW roster page. They pulled all of his merch off to go along with this. That way, when he comes back to AEW, I think James said it earlier, like 5 to 6 weeks, maybe, or even longer, depending on how everything outside of this work goes with him and Tony Khan and his contract and stuff like that. Because, like I said, there's some truth to it, I'm sure, with him and his contract and whatnot. But great stuff from MJF last night. I think it was a solid 8 minutes he talked on the mic, and it was like I thought it was awesome. MJF has always been great on the mic, but and I've seen MJF in person too when I was at Celeb Fest 3. I mean, like, he stays in character, in kayfabe character. the man is I'm gonna say he probably said it too. He's a wrestling prodigy. He is a prodigy.
Yeah.
And like I literally, like, when I saw him in person, this is how much he is great in character. I wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I wanted to punch him in the face. He had made there was one meet and greet he was doing. I think it was like a 2-year-old kid, and the kid was standing on the table, and MJF was flicking him off the whole entire time. He made a kid cry. One of the friends I was with, she met MJF in person, and he cut a little thing on her, and we were standing in line to meet not Enzo, but Ortiz and Santana, and I kind of glanced at him, and he's like, what the F are you smirking at? Right? So I was just like, that was awesome. So great for MJF. Like I said, this is 100% of work, and we will see where this storyline ends up. Hopefully, I don't want them like waiting too long, but like maybe like James said earlier, like next 5 to 6 weeks, and see where this goes from. So great for MJF.
Yeah, for sure.
Aaron, I'm going to come over to you because I saw some super chats roll in. So James and Walter, Virtue number 2, you're going to have to wait.
Okay. All right, let me get to these super chats. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, when Veer comes, will Lashley dominate him?
No, almost will.
Veer's already there.
Anyways, moving on here. Mr. Tito sent in a $10 super chat, so thank you, Tito. Says, issue is that MJF is mad at Tony Khan, who we know is the owner and creative. Why Vince McMahon worked as a heel boss is that it wasn't well known he was the boss in 1997. Montreal broke that wide open.
He's got a point.
I've seen different opinions about that. Like, I think pretty much the majority of AEW fans know Tony Khan is the boss.
Right.
And I have seen.
I think 100% of their fans know that.
Yeah, and I mean, they're arguing, well, some people might not know that, but I really think the majority of AEW fans know who Tony Khan is, and they're like, wait, who's that guy? Who's he talking about? It's not like WCW where they would make some kind of reference to somebody that only 5% of the audience knew what they were talking about. Now, when MJF makes all these inside references, I think the majority of AEW's fan base knows what he's talking about. It's different from the late 90s, and people are thinking, like, where's this going to go? Are they going to make the same mistakes of WCW 2000? That's a great question. I'm thinking, as we talked about earlier, I'm thinking this is leading to MJF versus CM Punk. CM Punk is going to step up on behalf of Tony Khan. I'm still not convinced Tony Khan's going to be a TV character at this point, but we'll see. You never know. He vowed that he would not be a TV character. But I think anything's possible at this point.
It's the era we live in, too. It's kind of hard to hide in the social media era who's the owner of something, or it's kind of hard to hide that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I thought it was a great promo, and I'm definitely intrigued to see where they go next with it. And clearly, it's part of a storyline. Like they're doing a very good job at blending the alleged real issues between them and what you're seeing on TV, and just keeping people guessing. They're doing a great job with that.
Right.
All right. Oh, another one came in, Aaron.
Yeah. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $10 super chat. Says, to me, this was AEW's pipe bomb promo. Yeah, for sure. It was explosive for sure.
It was not a pipe bomb. It was a promo nuke. That's what
somebody said that to me on Twitter that wasn't a pipe bomb. It was a nuke. But yeah, it was something else for sure. And we do have a few other off-topic super chats, which we'll get to here when we wrap this topic up.
Okay. Well, James, I'll come over to you next. And here's the one thing I've been pretty pro AEW this show, right? Would you agree?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
For me,
yeah, for sure.
The one thing I didn't like, and maybe it was like the way that Flair would get hot-headed. MJF screamed the whole promo. And I'm not saying you have to be like soft-spoken like Jake Roberts, somewhere like Brian Pillman in the middle, where you can scream and get the big eyes, but then you can soften it up a little bit. Like, so him screaming, it's just like Punk sat on the stage Indian style and just talked. MJF did the Flair scream. And again, it's not like horrible, but if I had to nitpick something about it, you know, when you're at that high white, Aaron said red hot, when you're up there to red, white, hot, right? I got to kind of look at it and say, what could have been done better? I'm sure MJF is looking back at it and thinking what could have been done better for next time. So what do you think here?
Well, real quick. What I liked about it is that he was yelling. Like, I grew up on those 80s promos where the wrestlers are yelling and they're angry, they're pissed off. That's what I miss. And I thought he was very much channeling Ric Flair with that promo. A little bit of Brian Pillman with the whole storyline here, and a little bit of Shane Douglas from the early 90s when ECW started. Sure. I thought he took elements of several different people for that promo, and that's why
some of the best heels in the industry.
It was go ahead.
There was definitely Ric Flair vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I think I love everything about this worked shoot promo. This was so masterful what he did. I mean, the thing that gets me is not even just what he said, it was the subtleties and when he was speaking. If you notice when he comes out, he doesn't even have the Dynamite diamond ring on anymore. Like that was the after the third time watching it, that was the first thing I clocked. Doesn't even have the Dynamite ring. Throws his Burberry scarf when he says, "But this is Max Friedman talking." Love that little touch. Make it like, no, this ain't MJF. This is Max Friedman. Love that. I love that he's breaking kayfabe, breaking the walls down. Love it. Not Jericho style, but you know, I loved just I think the thing that got me, and you talked about him screaming, but if he said it any other way, I don't think it would have as much impact. When he talked about, don't ask the man to reach into his pockets and pay and have me pay the man and pay the man that's been busting his ass for him since day one. No, let's make sure he hoards all that money so we can bring in all the ex WWE guys who can't lace my damn boots. And I'm like, and he's going red. That was
awesome line. That was awesome.
He is shaking as he's saying.
That's Ric Flair-esque right there, for sure.
Absolutely.
When he said this, and we were watching this in real time. Noah Foster's ATW crew and me, we were watching this in real time, and we saw this crowd go from booing him,
right,
and telling him to STFU to
standing ovation
on Austin reaction. Like there's no type of reaction. He was getting an Austin level pop in that arena by the time he was done with that promo. There was not an empty damn. Nobody was sitting down. Everybody was leaning over their seat if they were sitting down. They were so into this. This was the most compelling piece of television that I have seen in pro wrestling in years. What was already a stacked top to bottom show on AEW, this was the icing on the cake, pretty much. And that was just from a great pay-per-view, in my opinion. But this put it over the top for me. I mean, Max and Tony, you know, if this is a work, which I definitely believe it is, you can't tell me that Tony Khan's not self-aware anymore.
Right.
I think that's out of the question. I think he's got to know at least some of these criticisms that people say about him, right? I mean, that's what was so beautiful about it, is that he took elements of everything that people were complaining about.
Well, and I truly think, like, on this work, it's Tony Khan being smartened up by not just MJF, but like CM Punk is, hey, I did this. Here's how we need to do this. Tony, we're got to say things about you. Matt, MJF has to go out there and say things about you.
Oh, 100%.
I think, and they're not worried that, like, MJF, this great heel, this could turn you into a baby face. They're not worried that MJF would lose all his heat, because if you become a top baby face, that you're now appealing to more people. That's better for business. So, like,
Yeah.
If the right people are talking and convincing them to do this, which is what I think is happening, is why we're finally seeing it. And again, just a hunch because of the people involved that have done this stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And the part where he talked about the fans might have been improv.
Oh,
he might have improv that just because based on the reaction. He was like, "Well, let me talk about you
because
too."
he was getting claps.
Yeah,
dude, it does harken back to that original pipe bomb too. And I love that. I just love the little subtle nods too, like when he's telling Justin Roberts, who's I believe counting him down to, "Don't count me down, you piece of shut your mouth." I was like, that's really, we're going back to Road Rager, Austin freaking out at the guy counting him down. We're reaching in through all the bag of tricks on this. That was awesome, man. This was I'm marking out, bro. This was the best. This is the best promo that I have seen in years, man. Years upon years. And that's no disrespect to everybody else that's got a promo before this, but like, this is probably the most impassioned I've ever heard anybody sound ever. And MJF's cut some gold on the mic already.
Right.
So this was, I mean, you literally could have just had this be the show, done nothing else, and this would have made AEW S tier.
Yeah.
For me.
And James, this is one of the first times I've gone back and watched an AEW segment for all the great matches that they have. Like, I don't go back and watch them a second time. I don't think this might be controversial, but I don't think there's any AEW match that I've ever watched twice in my life.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
me too. That's why I was glad you posted the uncensored version. I clicked that link. I don't know how many times on your version.
I must watch that like 30 or 40 times legit.
I'm legitimately, I know that promo probably word for word by this point. That's how many times I've watched it.
I always say I am a sports entertainment guy, and at the end of the day, you go out there, you be a compelling character. That's going to draw my attention and get me invested.
100%. Which, by the way, that's not to say that AEW hasn't had the rest of the show was banging too. Like they had great matches. Yeah. Like it's funny too because there's actually a couple times where that did happen. Pay-per-view matches from Double or Nothing. There was like a couple I actually did go and watch back a couple times. And promo-wise, I probably watched the Tanahashi bit too, like a couple times, but nowhere near the MJF thing. I mean, that was so compelling. Yeah. Out of this world good.
Absolutely.
Walter, you got to go now.
Yeah,
any additional thoughts here?
There's not much to say that hasn't been said, but, AEW's only been around, 3-4 years. This has got to be the best thing they've ever done in that short history. MJF completely raised his stock. Everybody's talking about him, and way to work the fans. I mean, you got the best stories are routed with some truth, and any storyline, any promo, when you route them with little elements of truth, that's when you get your best TV. And this is how you do sports entertainment. Yeah. And this is what AEW needs more of. But then again, it's like, who else can do it but him? It had to be the greatest promo I've seen maybe since the Punk 2011. Like, who knows? I mean, we've had quite a few promos over the air, but this has got to be top 3 or 4. Yeah.
I mean, some people like it even more than the CM Punk pipe bomb.
I'm one of them. Yeah. And I'm the biggest CM Punk fan alive. By the way, just so we know how much reach this had, I actually went and I know you said don't have background apps, but I actually looked this up. There was like 4 million views on TikTok for this promo. Freaking 2 million views combined with all the uploads on Twitter. And there's about a total of all the uploads on YouTube, like at least 6 million. And that's probably all repeated. So it's probably close to 3 to 3.5 million people watch this promo. And it hasn't even been uploaded on AEW's official YouTube channel yet.
Right. And I don't even know if they will. Now, Virtue, we brought this up earlier. I know you mentioned it. The copyright thing, they pulled that Twitter video, maybe because it was a full-length clip, or maybe somebody like from the copyright department was just on autopilot. Like, what do you think happened with that? That's kind of weird to me that they would do that.
But didn't they left like you put one up where it was MJF saying calling Tony Khan and F and Mark. That one's still up. So
yeah, that makes me wonder if maybe because it was
Yeah.
a full-length clip, maybe somebody from Warner Media didn't want that full clip up there. I don't know.
that could be. But yeah, I mean, look, any wrestler you can like put in that situation and let him, as long as you can talk well, you're gonna have buzz. I mean, like, remember Paul Heyman did it in ECW with like Brian Pillman, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then WWE kind of started piggybacking off of that. Hey, let these guys talk. And look what ended up happening. I mean, even Bret Hart got to say some cool promos. So you just let these wrestlers like kind of like say what's on their mind based on their character and their real life self. And look what happens. Compelling television. Aaron, any other?
I love how far they're taking it too. They took his merchandise off the website. Like they're really going all in with this.
As they should. As they should. There's the only way you can do it, and that's go balls to the wall.
And I know people are saying this might be better than Punk, but I put Punk because it was like the first one to do it. It's like no one really did it the way Punk
really
did it.
wasn't
So
the first one.
not the first one, but like.
I mean, like Virtue said, there's somebody called Brian Pillman that was doing those types of promos.
Paul Heyman was shooting on the network long before Punk did, buddy.
yeah, that's true.
Hey, TNT, TNN, I dare you to throw me off the air.
Yeah.
Has a nice impression, by the way.
Well, thank you. I try.
All right, we got a few we got quite a few, so let me try to get to these. I'll get to Caleb first so he doesn't make a comment about me forgetting a super chat. He says, MJF should say he's the president of the United States of America, just like Ric Flair did. I remember that promo. Unfortunately, that was kind of when WCW was starting to go downhill, but when Ric Flair went heel and the abuse of power thing is the president, he called himself the president of the United States. That was great stuff. Like Ric Flair was a complete madman. He got put in the mental hospital, and Scott Hall was randomly in there. Anybody remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. But I still love Macho Man. His promos, the cream of the crop, and it's the cream rises to the top. All those, I love Macho Man and his promos.
Oh, and excuse me, it's Warner Brothers Discovery, not Warner Media or whatever.
Yeah, Discovery merged with them. Yep.
Let's see. The Game is on 100 sent in a $2 super chat. Says this MJF thing, nothing new. WWE, WCW, Ring of Honor, done it.
Okay.
I mean,
everybody's done it, but it's the way you do it that counts, not what you're doing.
Like, thank you for the super chat and everything. But
it's hard for any company to be completely original when everything's been done. Yeah, everything's been done.
What sticks out to me the most still is from One Night Stand 2005 with Paul Heyman.
Didn't want to work Tuesdays. Straight up looking at JBL, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming, Elizabeth," and he's like falling down, exaggerated, drunk off his butt.
And Mr. Tito sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Tito. Says, loved hearing Dave Meltzer worry that MJF's promo would diminish how AEW is perceived. Dave said MJF used Jim Cornette's talking points.
You know, it's funny because it didn't derail the show like I thought it would. I had that same fear. I watched the show. The people were into everything.
Right.
They were into the whole show. So, like, I disagree with that. I hardly think that's true. Because if so, the whole show, they would have just littered the freaking ring with trash.
We can hear what Jim Cornette says on his drive-through this week. I'm sure he'll be talking about it. So
I'm actually going to probably watch that.
If they were that worried about that, they would have put it on last.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to you, Aaron. Super chats. Let's get this wrapped up. Let's go.
All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says another dream feud: Jeff Meacham versus Aaron Rift.
Okay.
NoDQ.com. CAW. Let's go.
I think we did that already, maybe. But
you probably did.
We could do another trivia match.
There you go.
Never say never. Maybe we could bring that back for a one-off. If Jeff and I have a score to settle, we can settle it in a trivia game.
Well, you'd have to acknowledge Greg Cherry first.
Right. Well, this would just be for bragging rights. No title or anything. Maybe Greg could be the moderator. You
have to have an Intercontinental title at some point. probably.
And then ask us like, who was the third person to win the Intercontinental title on an episode of Monday Night Raw between 2015 and 2007? Something like
Probably
that.
The Miz in that year.
Yeah, I mean that would be the best guess. Just go with who had the title the most amount of times in that period.
When did the Miz win the Intercontinental Championship in 2017? Yes.
Right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Imagine Ricochet." I told you, Virtue, he was going to keep us on over an hour. Imagine Ricochet cutting an 80s style promo. He would be like Tito Santana, probably.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
Are we caught up on super chats?
No, we are not.
I stopped looking.
Psycho Jet Black sent in another $2 super chat. Says, "Dream feud: Bart Gunn versus the Shockmaster."
No, you got to say it right. You got to do it with some
I don't have the
like
voice
sting.
for that.
The Shock Master, and then he falls on his face.
Boom! And he falls
And
on his
helmet
ass.
goes off.
And Sid starts laughing.
And then the helmet knocks Bart Gunn out.
Yeah, and then he wins by default.
Yeah,
Helmet
there
on
you
the pole match. Helmet on the pole match.
That'll be
Oh,
the
no.
rematch.
Yeah.
go.
All right, Psycho Jet Black.
Dude, what do you do for a living? Like, seriously.
Harasses us, apparently.
His dad must be named Shad.
He says, "You remember the Undertaker and Big Show promo where they talked about having a trip in the desert and their motorcycles and matching or making snake boots or something
We
like
have
that?"
I remember that promo. Yeah.
I
was
remember
like-
that promo, but wow, we've gone.
That was like
Nah, it
wait,
wasn't that.
that was like the third or fourth episode of SmackDown when they were teaming up, and then Undertaker got hurt.
The promo.
He was gone for 8 months, and then he came back as the American Badass.
I want to
Yeah.
be a biker now. I want to
Yeah,
make
the
people
ba-
famous.
The back and forth I love in the promo was when The Rock and Eddie Guerrero were going back at it, and he was doing Eddie Guerrero. That was like one of my favorites.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love that promo. That's like one of the most underrated promos by Rocky ever.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more here from Johnny Boy, and then we'll be caught up. He says, "Dream promo feud, alive or dead? Mine would be Macho Man and The Rock. Can answer after since I have to leave." Well, Johnny Boy, hopefully you catch this whenever you watch it on demand. Dream promo feud. I'd have to think about that for a minute. Macho Man would be great against any of the current crop of people. Macho
Yeah.
Man versus MJF, Macho Man versus CM Punk, Macho Man versus Bryan Danielson would be great. There's so many of them I can't even think of. But
MJF, The Rock would be great.
Oh my god, yeah, it would be.
Pillman, CM Punk.
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
Brian Pillman, MJF, Roddy Piper, MJF. You know, put Roddy Piper in with any of the great talkers of today.
You know what? Ricky Starks versus The Rock.
I don't think Ricky Starks could hang with The Rock. Maybe he could.
Yeah, could he?
Paul Heyman versus
Max
MJF.
Caster
roast
versus
those
John
two
Cena.
Max
Huh?
Caster versus John Cena. Yes,
There you go.
You gotta throw Jake the Snake in there to when that was he had this quiet tone and he could just pull you into his promo. Jake the Snake is really underrated with his promos. He was a great
Absolutely.
promo. Yeah,
How about MJF versus The Miz?
yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I'm a
I feel
little
like the
afraid
Miz-
of
Spider-Man's,
afraid-
right?
I'm afraid of MJF going to WWE because they'll tone him down so much that maybe this buzz wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this is all at work.
Mm-hmm.
And we got one more here from Underground Night. Says, "Hang tight, Virtue. It's Super Chat Mania."
I just want to lay in
Yeah.
bed and play my Nintendo Switch before I go to sleep. That's why I want to go. Okay.
That's coming up. Super Chat Mania is coming up on 200. That's when we're opening the floodgate.
That'll be a long one. But all right, let's go around and do our plugs, and we'll come back to Aaron, and who knows what'll happen. So Walter Cruz, go ahead and do your plugs.
I'm the most simplest out of us all. You can just catch me on Twitter at Walter Alex Cruz. Or Alexis Cruz. See, I don't even know my own Twitter. Look at that. At Walter Alex Cruz.
There you go. There you go.
Bart Gunn is your background picture.
Yeah, you.
Thanks for being on.
Thanks
Simple, easy
for having
peasy.
me. Exactly.
Over to you,
that's fine.
James.
You guys can check out For the Wins Productions on 4 separate channels. You can check out Insanity Works Studios, Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated, Jay Hebert Studios, and a Simple Man Studios. That would be Noah Foster's channel. Check out all the shows listed above, all under the umbrella of For the Win Productions, as well as our biggin' WYW, Weymouth Youth Wrestling, our CAW league that all of us are a part of in one way, shape, or form. You can catch that on youtube.com/WYW Pride. If you like NoDQ CAW, chances are you'll like Weymouth Youth Wrestling, so give it a chance.
Maybe
give
you
it a
have,
chance.
you have to make
Listen,
Aaron Riff versus Jeff Meacham on there.
Yeah, probably.
Thanks
We'll
for
have to
being
do-
on.
We'll do an authority figure angle between you two.
There you go.
We'll make it
My
work.
wife is watching this back and just gave me a death stare. She's on the that question about the.
You're in trouble.
Big G, go ahead and do your
She's
plugs.
smiling. I'm not joking.
It wasn't his fault.
And I damn sure didn't answer it.
As always, I'm always happy to be here. You can follow me at nodq.com/bigbology. That'll take you to my Twitter page. And if you have TikTok, if you don't have TikTok, you can follow me there at bigbology1988. And that is it for me.
All right. Over to Aaron.
Just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest wrestling news and rumors. And one more time, quick plug, Robbie is coming. Don't know when, but he will be here soon.
Coming to NoDQ.
And apparently,
Wasn't there a
according
super
to
chat that came in, Aaron?
What?
Oh, yeah.
that's-
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says,
There he
who's
is.
the better rival, Mo Camera or Mr. Tito? I guess this one's for Virtue.
That's a
'cause
virtue
Stone had
question.
2 rivals.
Yeah, it's neither one of them now. It's probably going to be that Gareth Junkie jerk off, whatever his name is. It's going to sue me, Aaron. Yeah, I don't know.
Is that the one that thinks you wrote that article?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even know these people. Like, some of them entertain me on Twitter for a couple months, and then I get bored with them, and then bye-bye.
I want new toys to play with.
No, and
Give me
Adrian
new.
answered
I want that.
question.
I want that
think
new
I
action figure. Damn it.
Anything
right.
else, Aaron?
That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. And stay tuned for the recaps of NXT and Hell in a Cell this weekend.
And where can I catch you, Virtue?
Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue if you dare. If you think you've been wrongly blocked, you can email your apology to me at NoDQVirtue@gmail.com. Complaints go to Aaron Rift, NoDQMISC@gmail.com. Check out NoDQ.com/merch and get the I'm sorry shirt if you want an apology from me, but you're going to have to buy it. And Colin the Cleaver Andrew, another shout out to you, Noah Foster, Jeff Meacham, and Robbie is coming, the whole crew. But we are going to go for this evening for James, for Big G, for Walter, and for Aaron Rift. I am Virtue. This has been the NoDQ review number 190. We are 10 episodes away from 200, where we will let you, the NoDQ Galaxy, be the moderator for the entire show, feeding us topics. Thank you for watching, listening, whatever. Good night, everybody.